Picture this, right? You are doing everything perfectly. You're reading the books, you're listening to these deep dives. Maybe you're even going to therapy and doing the heavy lifting of, childhood trauma healing.
Oh, yeah.
You're just checking every single box on the self-improvement checklist.
I mean, it is frankly exhausting just thinking about the sheer volume of work highly motivated people put into themselves on a daily basis.
It really is. It's so much work. But here's the kicker, and this is exactly what we're tackling today. Despite all of that relentless effort, you are still not quite at that next level timeline you actually want.
Right. You're looking around wondering why you haven't arrived yet.
Exactly. And honestly, it is an incredibly frustrating place to be. So our mission for this deep dive is to uncover this sneaky, totally invisible belief that basically masquerades as growth, but is actually acting as a massive roadblock to your true potential. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. Because the problem isn't a lack of effort. I mean, we know you're working hard. The roadblock is actually the underlying frequency of that effort. So today, we're going to deconstruct a massive paradigm shift.
I love a good paradigm shift.
Right. We are moving from the endless cycle of trying to, fix yourself to the profound simplicity of simply being your next level self.
And to figure out why this happens, we are pulling from a really fascinating stack of sources today. We're looking at Torrey Higgins's foundational 1987 research on self-concept, alongside a collection of modern psychological essays that really dissect identity shifting.
It's some incredibly dense but rewarding material.
Yeah, totally. And according to this material, before we can actually change our approach, we have to identify the specific trap that catches us. And it all boils down to one, toxic little sentence playing on a loop in your subconscious.
Yes. The sentence is, I am not the person who is ready to have it yet.
Ugh, that hits hard. I'm not the person who's ready to have it yet.
It's brutal. That is the core limiting belief. It is the idea that the current version of you, like the one sitting here right now listening to this, has to jump through a million hoops and undergo endless renovations before you are, allowed to step into a different reality.
You are fundamentally rejecting the person you are right now.
Exactly. You're rejecting yourself.
And it shows up as these incredibly practical-sounding excuses, right? We tell ourselves things like, well, I need to lose 20 pounds first, or I need to heal all my childhood trauma first, or even I need to make more money before I start.
Or the classic, I just need to wait for the right timing.
Yes, the right timing. The list of prerequisites literally never ends.
And notice how perfectly reasonable those excuses sound in the moment. They really disguise themselves as responsibility.
Oh, 100%.
You think you're just being pragmatic. Right. You think you're just making sure you are perfectly prepared. But really, it's a stalling tactic. You think you have to gut the entire house before you can even invite anyone over for coffee. But as long as you believe you aren't ready, your reality will reflect that you aren't ready.
It actually reminds me of when your smartphone says there's a software update and it gets to, installing 99%. And it just stays there.
Oh, yeah. Forever.
Forever. You're terrified to touch the phone. You can't use it. You're just trapped in this perpetual state of almost being ready.
Yeah.
You're running on a treadmill, sweating, and working hard, but physically staying in the exact same place.
That captures the anxiety of it perfectly. It's also, it's like spending 3 weeks endlessly organizing your desk, buying new highlighters, and color-coding your folder so you can finally sit down and write a novel.
Yes, that color coding.
Right. You are expending massive amounts of energy, but zero actual words are making it onto the page.
Because you are focusing all your energy on the preparation, mistakenly believing that your current self is somehow, too defective to just start writing.
Exactly. You are jumping through these hoops for a future reality.
So why does looking at our big goals sometimes make us feel paralyzed instead of inspired? I mean, it feels so counterintuitive. We're taught that having big goals is supposed to fire us up.
To understand the mechanics of this, we have to look at the psychology of how we view ourselves. And this is where we turn to that framework developed by Torrey Higgins.
Right, the psychology professor at Columbia.
Yes. His discrepancy theory from 1987 is essential here. Higgins's research shows that we don't just carry one concept of who we are. We actually carry 3 distinct versions of ourselves at all times.
Okay, let's break those 3 selves down for everyone.
Sure. So first, you have the actual self. That is who you believe you are right now, in this exact moment, flaws and all. The baseline.
The baseline, got it.
Then you have the ideal self. That is who you desperately want to be. It's your hopes, your aspirations, your highest potential.
Okay, so actual and ideal. What's the third?
Finally, you have the ought self. which is who you feel you should be, often based on obligations, societal pressures, or, what your parents expected of you.
The actual, the ideal, and the ought.
Mm.
Okay, so how do these three selves trap us in that desk organizing phase we were talking about?
So Higgins found something crucial about the gap between the actual self and the ideal self. We tend to think that having a really big, lofty goal like a massive ideal self will naturally inspire us to work harder.
Right, like shooting for the moon.
Exactly. But the data shows the total opposite. When the gap between who you believe you are now and who you want to be becomes too large, motivation actually plummets.
Wait, really? I would think a big gap just means you have a clear target to aim at. Why does the motivation drop so much?
It comes down to how the human brain processes energy and cognitive dissonance. When your brain looks at a massive gap between your actual self and your ideal self, it calculates the immense amount of psychological and physical energy required to bridge that distance. And if the gap feels mathematically impossible, your brain shifts into an energy conservation mode. It basically creates intense cognitive dissonance. The discomfort of wanting something so badly, but feeling so incredibly far away from it is painful.
So to relieve that pain, your brain just shuts down the forward momentum. You freeze.
You completely freeze.
That brings up a perfect example from our research today. Think about when you're scrolling on Instagram, right?
Oh, the doom scroll.
Yeah, the doom scroll.
Yeah.
You see someone who is wildly successful, but they are totally different from you. Maybe they come from a wealthy family or they had a completely different upbringing. It's pretty easy to write them off. Just say, well, of course they're successful. They have a trust fund and industry connections.
Right. You invent an excuse to explain the gap. It relieves the cognitive dissonance instantly.
But then like a few months later, you're scrolling and you see someone who matches your exact demographics. Same ethnicity, same part of the world, same age bracket, similar background. And they are absolutely killing it. Suddenly, every single excuse you made up about why they succeeded and you didn't is just completely shattered.
The safety of the excuse is totally gone.
Wait, I'm genuinely confused by this part of the theory, though. If I see someone just like me succeeding, shouldn't that be the ultimate proof that I can do it too? Like, why would that decrease my motivation?
It's a really great question, and it's exactly where the trap snaps shut. When you see someone just like you succeeding, it should prove that it's possible. But if you are already carrying that deep-seated, I am not ready yet belief, your ego panics.
Oh, I see.
The gap still feels huge, but now you can't blame your background or your lack of a trust fund. So what do you do to relieve the dissonance this time? You turn inward. You decide there must be something fundamentally wrong with you.
Oh, wow. You start thinking, well, if they can do it and I can't, I must just need more fixing.
Exactly. You convince yourself that you lack some invisible special advantage. You think, I need to be more charismatic, I need to be smarter, I need to be thinner, I need more certifications. You literally invent new internal flaws to explain the discrepancy.
That is so wild. And that throws you right back into the cycle of trying to fix yourself rather than actually taking action.
You're back to organizing the desk.
That is incredibly subtle and so self-destructive. But if this gap makes us invent excuses and obsess over our own perceived flaws, where did we even learn this behavior in the first place? I mean, nobody wakes up as a toddler and says, I'm fundamentally broken and need endless self-improvement.
Yeah, that's a vital realization.
Okay.
You didn't consciously choose this limiting belief. It was installed.
It points back to early childhood conditioning, right? We were taught very early on that love and attention had conditions. You had to be the good kid. You had to be quieter or smarter or get straight A's. The kids who behaved perfectly got the praise and the rewards.
Right. We learned that acceptance is completely transactional. You feel like you have to earn your worth by fixing your natural behaviors to fit a specific mold.
And it doesn't stop in childhood either.
Yeah.
Modern culture just thrives on this insecurity.
Oh, absolutely. Look at advertising. Every single ad you see is essentially reinforcing the idea that you are not enough as you are, but you will be if you just buy this one product.
Even the self-help industry does this, which is so ironic. It's supposed to be about empowerment, but so often it just sells you one more fix. You finish a book and think you're finally ready, and the algorithm serves you 3 more books about, like, micro-traumas you didn't even know you had.
It literally profits off the idea that you are fundamentally not enough.
Right. Which brings us to the major paradigm shift of our entire deep dive today. This is the mechanism that dictates whether you stay stuck or actually move forward.
Yes. And it's this. The universe, or your reality, whatever you prefer to call it, does not gauge your effort. It gauges where your effort is coming from.
It gauges where your effort is coming from. Okay, let's break down the two different mindsets the sources contrast here. You can take the exact same action. Let's say launching a new business or starting a fitness routine. Mindset A is doing it from a place of, I need fixing.
Right.
You are desperate. Your
Yeah.
self-worth is low, and you're thinking, if I just achieve this, finally I will be enough. But
Exactly.
mindset B is doing the exact same actions, but from a place of, I deserve to evolve. It's rooted in self-respect and self-actualization. You're doing it because you honor your potential, not because you're trying to escape your current self.
And that distinction is everything. If you act from a place of, I am not good enough and I need to earn my worth, you are broadcasting a frequency of lack. The sources talk a lot about the universe being a mirror that basically reflects your relationship with yourself.
I want to pause on that phrase for a second. The universe is a mirror. It
Yeah.
sounds a bit, mystical. What is the actual psychological mechanism happening there?
Right, it's not magic. When we talk about the universe as a mirror, what's actually happening in your brain is confirmation bias. And this is driven by your reticular activating system or your RAS.
Okay, the RAS.
Yeah.
That's the bundle of nerves at our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information, right? So only the important stuff gets through.
Yeah, exactly. Your RAS is programmed by what you focus on and what you truly believe.
So if I believe I am not ready, my RAS goes to work proving me right.
Precisely. If you are operating from mindset A, that I need fixing mindset, your RAS filters out opportunities and only shows you evidence of your flaws.
Wow.
So you walk into a networking event feeling like an imposter, and your brain hyperfocuses on the one person who looks bored while you're talking. The mirror is just your own subconscious behavioral loop showing you more things you aren't enough for. It sends you more things to fix.
But if you operate from mindset B, finding wholeness within yourself first.
Then your RAS shifts completely. You act from a place of self-respect, you walk into that exact same networking event feeling complete, and suddenly your brain highlights the 3 people smiling at you, the potential collaborations, the open doors.
The reality reflects that wholeness right back to you.
Exactly. You stop looking for external things to save you because you already know you are complete.
I mean, understanding the psychology behind this is genuinely like a weight lifting off. But the million-dollar question is obviously application. How do we actually cross that gap today? How do we get out of the disorganizing phase without falling for one more fix?
Well, the sources outline a very practical 4-step framework to help you step into that next level identity today. It takes this from abstract theory into concrete action.
Perfect. Let's walk through it.
Step 1 is simply to notice it. Awareness is always the first key. This belief is incredibly sneaky, so it's going to show up in really mundane moments. It's not going to announce itself with a megaphone.
Yeah, it usually hits me during the morning rush when I'm overwhelmed by a million tasks or, right before bed when my mind is racing with everything I did wrong that day. The classic midnight doom loop.
Oh, the midnight doom loop is so real.
I should have said this. I'm not ready for that meeting tomorrow. Just spiraling.
Right. And when you clock that feeling of, I need to fix this about myself before I can succeed, you just have to stop the train of thought. Don't judge it. Don't beat yourself up for having the thought. Just notice it. Say, oh, there's that belief again.
Okay, so if I just notice the thought, that doesn't really stop it from ruining my morning, though. What do I do once I've caught it red-handed?
That leads directly into step 2. Refuse it out loud.
Out loud.
Out loud. When the thought pops up saying, you aren't ready yet, you literally say out loud, it's not true, and you dismiss it.
Saying it out loud feels a little silly,
Yeah.
honestly, but I imagine that breaks the cognitive loop pretty well. But is it really that simple? Like, can you just refuse a deeply held belief?
It is definitely uncomfortable at first. Your brain will fight you because that belief has kept you safe from taking risks for years. And we need to be clear here. Refusing the thought does not mean you don't want to grow. You still want to get better.
Right.
But there is a monumental difference between growing out of self-respect and growing out of self-rejection. By saying it out loud, you are refusing the premise that you are fundamentally broken.
Growing out of self-respect, not self-rejection. I love that. Okay, once we've refused the thought, what is step 3?
Step 3 is to ask the real question. Usually when we set goals, we ask, who do I need to become to achieve this?
Right, which puts the target miles away in the future.
Exactly. It widens that gap Higgins talked about. The real question is, what would she do this afternoon if she were already me?
Bringing it right into the present moment. Not a year from now, this afternoon.
You have to be specific and concrete. You shrink the gap from a distant identity to a present action.
So if the highest version of yourself was sitting in your chair right now, What would they do at 2:00 p.m. today? Maybe they would finally send that terrifying email.
Yes.
Maybe they would reach out to that mentor even if it feels super awkward. Maybe they would post their work on social media without waiting to buy a better camera. Or, maybe they just finally launched the offer they've been sitting on for 6 months.
Which brings us directly to the final step. Step 4, do the dang thing. You have the answer to the question. Now you just have to embody the identity and take the action.
Okay, let me pause you there. Because if I'm doing something before I actually feel ready, isn't that just faking it till you make it? I mean, imposter syndrome is very real. How is this any different from just putting on a mask and hoping nobody notices?
That is a very common point of confusion, and it's a really crucial distinction to make. This is not faking it till you make it. No, because faking it implies that you are acting out of desperation to prove something to the outside world. It's rooted in fear. You feel like a fraud trying to trick everyone into believing you actually belong.
Yeah, faking it is entirely based on external validation.
Right. But this process is about confirming your identity. You aren't faking anything. You are confirming that the highest version of you is already here. You are taking the physical action to align your reality with the truth of who you already are. It's a completely different frequency.
Wow.
One is rooted in fear and lack. The other is rooted in quiet confidence and self-honor.
Confirming, not faking. You are basically saying, I am already this person, so of course I'm going to hit send on this email. You're just matching your actions to your true identity.
And it's a completely normal if you freak out a little bit while you do it.
Good to know.
Yeah, your nervous system is just trying to catch up to your new identity. Self-compassion is part of the process. The goal isn't to never feel fear. The goal is to notice where the action is coming from. Are you doing it from not enoughness? Or are you doing it to confirm your next level identity?
That's such a huge shift. Let's get to synthesize this whole deep dive. The gap you are so desperately trying to close in your life isn't actually a gap in your abilities. It's not a gap in your intelligence, your network, or your readiness. It is simply a psychological gap that you close by deciding to step into your ideal self before you feel fully ready.
The ultimate work here is profound, but the execution is incredibly simple. You have to stop rejecting the part of you that is rejecting yourself. You don't need another fix. You don't need to delay your timeline anymore. You are already the person you're trying to become.
Stop waiting for the software update to hit 100%. Stop color coding your folders. Just, write the book.
Exactly. And to leave you with a final thought to chew on today, we've established that your reality, through your reticular activating system, perfectly reflects your relationship with yourself. It is a flawless mirror.
Right.
So what happens if tomorrow morning you wake up and completely refuse to give that mirror anything to fix?
Oof, that is a powerful framing.
If you just stand there, completely whole, accepting yourself exactly as you are, without a single apology or excuse, what new reality would that mirror be forced to show you next?
That is the question to carry with you. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. Stop fixing, start being, and we will catch you on the next one.